Good evening to you, everyone. Welcome to Molineux. I've come to the very top of whichever stand this is. There is the stadium in the background, looking resplendent. Just a bit of mild peril while we do this as well. The stewards are currently coming, collecting the rubbish along the stand. So at some point, they're going to reach me. Who knows what will happen at that point? But yeah, much more importantly, Norwich City have made it through to the fifth round of the FA Cup. Oh, you need a scoreline, don't you? There you go. 1-0, thanks to Kenny McLean's header just before half-time from Billy Gilmore's free kick. It was a remarkable, for the second game in a trot, it was a kind of remarkable goal because it was a set piece wide just on the far side over there. Billy Gilmore, it was a very lovely delivery. And Kenny McLean making kind of a trademark run to the near post, which he's done a few times in his career, certainly at this club. And a big loop on the ball. I mean, it's a remarkable header, really. There's a lot of loop on it. And somehow it just squeaked under the bar inside the far post, leaving sort of John Ruddy in the Wolves' goal a bit stranded. And that was enough to win a game which probably did look like it was going to finish with few goals from the outset. A curious game, really, because at times it would get very stretched. And at other times it was frenetic and chaotic, and it certainly was competitive because the referee was sort of getting involved. He was getting a bit wound up by some things, much like the home supporters as well. And then in other periods, the game was completely dead. And I think that probably said a lot for Norwich managing the game pretty well. This will go down as a game where Norwich annoyed everyone, which is probably the sort of thing we like to see when Norwich away from home, because all too often they get accused of being a bit too easy to play against, or it's all a bit too nice, and there was none of that really. So Norwich were, they weren't in anyone's faces particularly, but they just managed the game well and weren't going to hurry if they didn't need to, which I suppose is sensible really. And at the moment, Norwich are doing a lot of pragmatic things that are making them effective. They've won 4 out of 5 games since the turn of the year. A run kicked off by their win at Charlton, which was obviously the first 45 minutes of that was probably as bad as I've seen Norwich play in years. But everything is kind of more pragmatic and more, as I said, it's providing a more effective platform. Now, quite how long that is is something that everyone's happy with, I suppose, is interesting, because I remember how difficult it became for Chris Hughton when people weren't necessarily enamoured. But I'm probably getting ahead of myself a bit there, because ultimately at the moment it's great to see how effective Norwich are being in terms of taking chances. They're scoring goals when before they couldn't hit a barn door. Kept a clean sheet today, which is great news. And ultimately, they're really competitive. And as great as it is that Norwich are in the 5th round of the Cup, that's quite exciting. We all get to be involved in the draw and see who Norwich get. And I think that game takes place just before the Brentford game at Carrow Road, which is obviously going to be a huge game, because in my mind, chasing down Brentford is exactly what Norwich should be doing over the coming months, or weeks anyway. Norwich are 7 points behind them. They get to play them at home. If they beat them at home, it's only 4 points. So it's 4 points to pick up on a team that are struggling for wins and struggling to get themselves going. So strikes me as something of an opportunity there. But yeah, certainly if Norwich can do all that they're doing and sort of translate that into Premier League form, all the better, because on Wednesday they've got a huge game obviously coming up against Crystal Palace at Carrow Road, which pick up a win in that game, bearing in mind they've then got to play Manchester City and Liverpool's coming up as well, and Chelsea after Southampton. Got 3 out of the next 4 games after that are very difficult. It does make me think that Southampton game is huge and exciting, because there's it's just great to see Norwich being competitive and looking reasonably tight. I'm waffling really, aren't I? So let's get back to the game. I mean, so Norwich created some big chances. I thought Adam Ida played quite well, and the better chances did fall to him. Generally, maybe his finishing wasn't quite precise enough at times. In the build-up play, I thought his first touch was maybe a bit heavy, but actually in the moments where he got to create a chance for himself, his first touch was pretty secure, which probably explains a lot of where he is as a player, I think. But he was certainly effective. It was a pretty strong team today. Both teams had players missing, but I would say that I'm just going to let these guys come through. Although there were players missing, I would say that both teams had reasonably were well matched in terms of the strength of each side. We had Michael McGovern keeping a clean sheet, and that was quite an astute move, really, given Tim Krul's injury. If Angus Gunn picks up an injury or a suspension over the next few games, then Michael McGovern would have to go in goal without any minutes played. And now he doesn't because he played today. So that's sensible. Max Aaron's got a rest on the bench. Teemu Pukki came on as a substitute in the second half, so he got a bit of a rest. We got Matthias Norman on the pitch, which is obviously a benefit and great to see him back. I would say that he looked a tad rusty when he came on. Admittedly, though, he came on in a situation where he was going to have to battle pretty hard because Norwich were up against it, really. I thought in the second half, Wolves were poor in the first half, but in the second half, they really did ask Norwich some questions, and thought Norwich were genuinely pretty resolute, actually. There was one moment where I think it ended up being a 7v4, basically because Norwich's midfield sort of stopped tracking back, and it was a big moment. I think it ended up with Jimenez's shot wide, I think, or went out for a corner. I can't quite remember, but I think they're the moments I've got to be a little bit careful of. But apart from that, generally, I thought everyone worked really hard and defended really well. Norwich defended their box pretty well. Crosses came in, but generally they weren't reaching people open, or they were flying through because Norwich had bodies there, and they defended their area pretty well. And when needed to, Michael McGovern made some really good saves. And as I said, Norwich also created chances. So I think Bruno Lage said it himself that although Wolves kind of had the control, Norwich probably created the chances generally, certainly in the first half. I think he was happy with Wolves' performance in the second half, so he should be. But you can then take a lot of pride in terms of Norwich digging in and keeping a clean sheet in this situation. And this is prime FA Cup momentum securing, really, isn't it? In terms of not conceding, scoring a goal, winning a game of football. It feels like Norwich are in a good place at the moment, which is really beneficial. Billy Gilmore played most of the game today, and I thought he did well in patches. I mean, it's not going to be any great revelation. It's great to see Billy back. He's another option. He is different to what Norwich have got in other places, and there are going to be times when his skill set is ideal. He can link the play really well. He still lacks a bit of physicality. I still don't feel like the midfield has enough presence when he's in it at times, unless they keep the ball a lot. And I don't think there are going to just be that many opportunities for him. So I kind of feel like that storyline is set now. It's just going to be a question of when he's used. We had Josh Sargent missing. He was due to be in the 11, but 50 minutes before kickoff, didn't feel very well. Not COVID related as far as I understand. Although there was a suggestion initially that it was. I was told, but it doesn't seem to be that that's the case. I would imagine that Norwich will be hoping that he gets to play, or is at least available for the Crystal Palace game on Wednesday. Yeah, and I think that kind of covers everything off. I mean, Norwich, I look at it at the moment, I think Norwich are getting the rub. I think things are going their way. Now, what I also feel is that in football, you do tend to earn your luck if you get it. If you end up conceding a goal, but you're under loads of pressure, and it was a bit unfortunate that, that's the opposition making their luck, and, penalty calls and those sort of things. It takes a lot to be genuinely really unfortunate, I think. And sometimes that can happen. But I think, they've kind of, things are going, they're getting some of the, finer margins are going in their favour. And I think they're also providing performances in a platform where they can benefit from that. And that's obviously really important, and it's really good to see. I've got something niggling in the back of my mind that I'm forgetting, but I can't remember. John Rowe came on for another appearance, and I thought he was mature when he came on too. And everyone can be really happy with this. There are 1,800 Norwich fans here. They were quiet for a lot of it, but the atmosphere in here was very good when Wolves were kind of inspiring them. And And there was one great chance late on. There was one great goal-saving tackle on Rashica from Semedo. But also I thought it was a great late chance and a brilliant low save from John Ruddy to deny Kieran Dowell. And it's good to see that move. I think if you watch that move back, that's the sort of thing I want to see Kieran Dowell, the give and go, moving into space. And it was a good, decent finish from him. It was just a brilliant save from John Ruddy. And it would have been lovely, probably the perfect afternoon had Kieran Dowell scored that. But he didn't, and it didn't matter, not other than to him personally, of course. So, yeah, really good afternoon's work for Norwich. It's back to the Premier League on Wednesday, so that's going to come around pretty quickly. But in terms of where everything is at the moment, I think that's pretty handy. Look forward to the draw. Hope it's a good one. Hope it's at home. I think having missed out at Carrow Road, well, the Tottenham game was obviously a great game 2 years ago, but having missed out on the Manchester United quarter-final, it'd be great to have a fifth round tie at Carrow Road to really get our teeth stuck into. And the way Norwich are playing and causing teams difficulties, you wouldn't bank against them, would you? So long may this continue. It's still early days. There's still a lot of football to be played, including Watford-Burnley about now. But all Norwich can do is worry about themselves, and I'm very conscious of not even bothering with the table at the moment. Norwich need 5 wins, not including cup competitions, for me, before we get to the last few games of the season to have a real chance. But a cup competition win will certainly help too. So yeah, Norwich have won here 1-0. Happy days. And onwards we go. Thanks for watching. Get your comments and questions in. I'll answer and as many as I can, and I'll certainly read them all. I will remove that scoreline there. I hope you've enjoyed this afternoon, and I will see you on Wednesday. On the Ball podcast, I'm away on Monday, so the guys will be doing another audio one, and then I'll be back the following week, I promise. And there'll be loads of other stuff on the Athletic live room on Monday, I think, and loads of other stuff. So get involved. But in the meantime, thanks for watching. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you all very soon. In the meantime, you can all be sat at home or wherever you are, dreaming of the magic of the cup. So enjoy it. See you later.